All right, now to our third category, Spurring Innovation. Will these winners please join me on the stage? Jennifer Buani, Kathy Colbinson, Cindy Etheridge, Kelly Regal, Rocio Woody. Each of you has been credited with bringing a new type of thinking to your organization or your industry. And what inspired you to pursue and implement this new idea or this new method?
I will start. Basically, when I started providing services to the Latino community, there were not specialized services understanding the cultural differences. So many of the problems with the Latino community that we encounter and we see on a daily basis is because it's a cultural problem. We don't understand their culture. They don't understand the culture of the hosting country, which is the United States, the state of Georgia. So it is a cultural thing, and there's so many issues that are related to habits and traditions and cultural values that don't really translate to American culture. So to me, that was something that we needed to focus on in terms of the patients that I saw on a daily basis and the problems that they were having with us.
I would just say, as far as pushing innovation, I think at early stages of your career, it's a lot driven by you and competition. I'm sure that's a lot of what people on this panel and the other panels have had in common with being competitive. But what's really inspired me as I've gotten further in my career are the people I work with and the innovation I see from them. What's amazing to me, and time again, is when you make a bet on a person, and often people say, well, they're a lawyer, or they're a finance person, or they're a PR person, and they let them stretch outside of their zone, and you see how innovative they can be. And that's really how you get innovation going in an organization. You let people go beyond where you expect they could go, and they pleasantly surprise you, and then it inspires you to join along. So.
I grew up in a family of problem solvers. My father was a chemistry professor, no less, and my mother was and is an activist. So it was ingrained in me from the beginning that what you are supposed to do is look for ways to help other people and challenges to tackle. When you combine that I grew up with the opportunity to work in a team setting to try something new, I mean, that is incredibly energizing and inspiring.
I think also I've been driven by the fundamental belief that there's potential that exists in every child, that there's potential that exists in every person, and that it's our job to provide the opportunity, the environment, the setting to unlock that potential, to help kids, and that's what we serve at Chris Kids. We serve some of the most troubled and challenged and victimized kids in our communities, and they deserve the same opportunity. They deserve the same chances, and they have potential buried within them that it's our job to unlock. And that's kind of the fundamental belief system that drives what we do at Chris Kids.
When I started the children's book series 6 years ago, I was in the technology industry, and I was watching it change rapidly, and coupled that with developing countries coming on board with entrepreneurship and being faced with extreme competition. And I had an infant daughter, and I looked at her and I thought, you know, her education is going to have to be significantly different than my generation's education, which was basically industrial age type design education to train you to be an employee. And so she's going to have to understand business concepts. If she's going to be able to compete and be successful in this world, she's going to be able to know them like secondhand, like she knows how to read and how she knows math. And so that's what inspired me to start writing the children's book series, to do it in their language, to make it entertaining and fun, and to develop a passion for business.
Have you had any limits to success, and if so, how did you overcome them?
I'll try to hit that first. I'd say, you know, the nice thing about failure or roadblocks or issues, the obstacles that you face in situations is then you've kind of got nothing to lose. So you can then go back and take the risks you should have taken, stretch outside of your comfort zone, do some of the things you should do. And it really, quite honestly, failure or obstacles are very freeing because you actually start to take the risks you should have taken the first time. So that's something I've learned over time too, to take those risks earlier, stretch outside of your comfort zone, and be persistent and patient at the same time. But at Turner, you really can't get things done unless you're persistent. You got to keep at it, and don't be afraid to fail because you'll actually take the risks you should have taken all the time.
Yeah, and I agree with that. I think persistence, never, never, never give up. If it's important, then you find a way. The name of our new apartment complex for youth who are aging out of foster care and homeless youth is Summit Trail. And I like to hike. And so we went through a process of thinking about what is a name that describes a challenge. And so when you think about it, if you hike to the summit. And you have to sometimes do switchbacks, and you have to go down to go up, and you have to make twists and turns, and you have to sometimes chart a new path. And that's what you have to do when there's anything important. You have to keep your eye on the prize and then figure out how to get there and handle the twists and the turns and the challenges that life brings you, but never forget what your goal is and always continue to strive for it.
So what other advice would you give to somebody who wants to bring innovation of their own?
I think of three things, and I've heard some of these already mentioned, but planning, persistence, and patience. I think a lot of it is thinking through and getting feedback from the very start of an idea. It's the collaboration that goes into developing an idea. And of course, my biggest challenge is always the patience part. But if you think about how much of innovation really has to do with evolution, it helps.
I agree with that, and also I would add persistence, and also take every challenge as a new opportunity. You know, what we're facing right now, especially with the Latino community here in the state of Georgia, anti-immigrant legislation, we are trying to basically face that challenge with, you know, just with perseverance, persistence, and just trying to hope for the best and making sure that people get educated about the contributions of the Latino community in the state of Georgia.
Ladies, thank you all so much. We appreciate your time.